Beginning ODO podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the ODO podcast, where normal is not my specialty. And hey, I'm back in the studio. Kinda. New studio. Old studio. Kind of a little of everything. I am your host, as always, Adam Higgins, the Odd Dad Out. And this is a show where I ramble and rant and just whatever the fuck out of my head for your listening entertainment. And if you're not entertained, why are you listening? That's all I got for you. Today, at special request, or because she was bored, I don't know, maybe a little of both, I have a guest.
That's me.
If you don't recognize that very special guest voice, it is my wife, ReAnna.
Yay.
Yay.
Hi.
Super excited to be here. Yeah.
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I was bored.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I guess before, because I don't feel like I need to introduce you. I think just saying, yeah, you're my wife. That kind of covers everything.
Yeah, that's me.
You know, like go through your bio or like, I mean, you know, you're this many old, depending on which kid you ask.
Definitely 25.
Yeah, sure. Been 25 plus or minus, mostly plus.
Shut up.
Yeah, but
Definitely 25.
plus 6
I hate you.
or 7. It's almost 7.
You are the worst.
I can do math.
I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Who is with you on the 25 train? I know
Bug and Sam.
Bug and Sam agree that they will. Mom says she's 25, therefore she's 25.
And Bug, I have him convinced that every year I get to turn 25 because I'm magic.
Yeah.
So,
Not because you're stubborn.
No. Look.
Yeah. See, the thing about this being an audio medium is they can't see the look you're giving me right now.
They can feel it.
I'm sure.
They know.
They all know from the silence that I was getting a look. But it's weird.
You're weird.
So I'm a little rusty because this is the first time I've sat down at the desk with a mic and recorded a show in almost 3 months now.
To be fair, this is the first time that anybody has sat down at this desk in particular.
At this desk in particular. Well, it's not the first time we've sat down at this desk, but it's the first time we've recorded at this desk. Because among a million other things we've been doing in quarantine time, we got a new desk. Like hours ago. Like finished building it around 3-ish.
Yeah. Well, and it was warranted, you know, now that thanks to quarantine, I am working from home. It turned into, I kind of took over the office.
Yeah.
Which sucked for you because that's
my office.
It's your office.
It's been from day one. It's been my office.
Which therefore the whole point, the whole reason why you haven't been recording is because I've taken over.
Yeah. So
we got a nice new big desk where actually all of our shit can fit.
Yeah.
So,
because for your job, you have 2 great big ass fucking monitors, which you're currently sitting next to.
No. For my job, I have 3 monitors. They only let me bring home 2. I'm not bitter.
Not bitter at all. No.
No.
You didn't just complain about it half of the day while we were putting the desk together.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm.
Anyway.
So that's selective amnesia, just like the last 6 years since you turned 25.
I don't like you.
But yes, today we put together, and it took about 3 hours to put together.
Yeah.
Our brand new, ginormous executive U desk. I say executive just because it helps kind of Like,
I mean, I feel like that just describes what's the word? Like solidness?
Yeah, it's a very solid desk. For being as inexpensive as it was, I'm not going to say cheap. It wasn't cheap.
No.
With picking up the pieces, it's like somewhere around a 220, 230 pound desk.
Yeah.
And holy crap, this thing was a bitch just to move the boxes in and out of the
Well, I felt bad because they had to bring it on 2 separate trucks, and this isn't even all of it. Like, we're still waiting for the hutch.
Yeah, there's a whole other shelf that goes up on top with like bookshelves and cabinets and everything that are going to sit on top of it, and because we need more space.
Yeah.
Because my old little desk, which worked perfectly fine for what I needed, had a lot of drawers, and this has 3.
Yeah,
I think I had 6 drawers in my other desk, and now we've got 3. And now it's got to fit not just my crap, which does not fit into the 3 drawers we have. We've also got to fit all your crap,
yep,
which was taking over some of my drawers. So we need more drawers.
Mostly just my snack drawer.
Well, your snack drawer took over my microphone drawer. But
priorities.
I was like, and hey, the microphones didn't need that much space. I can accept that. Bags of chips and candy take up a lot more room than a few microphones. But
priorities.
Yeah. But I've still got like papers and cables and cables and cables and cables.
Yeah.
I had an entire drawer just of cables. And that didn't include microphone cables. That was just like USB cables and
chargers to everything.
Chargers for everything and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I mean, this is a nice desk, and I think it'll work out really well to where you can be recording again and not interfering with my stuff, and I can work and not interfere with your stuff.
Yeah.
And it even has a nice section where if we need to come next school year, if the boys are still distance learning, which God, I hope not, because it sucked.
You hope not. I'm the one who was having to get up with them every day and do all that stuff.
Yeah, but they would have to come in here for their testing, or
if they were just being punks that day.
If they were just being punks that day and not getting their stuff done, they'd have to come in here and do it. So it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And, not to knock how any of the teachers coped with it, because I couldn't imagine having to teach during this.
No.
But it was hard on parents. It really was.
Yeah. And I mean, even though I'll get to that. And I was going to say, you are, something, but I'll get to that in a minute. But even the thing is that teachers are trained to do this. They're trained
to teach. They are not trained to do distance learning at all whatsoever.
Well, I mean, the teaching and the dealing with the kids, they're taught to do this. They're taught to handle this, and they're taught to
kids in a classroom.
They're taught to handle the kids in the classroom, teach kids in the classroom, and so and we also sit in a different sort of situation where we had 3 kids to deal with at once.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of I'm going to say a lot, but I'll say a lot. A lot of parents only had maybe 1 kid they had to deal with, or maybe they have like a middle school or an elementary school kid. Mm-hmm. And like a high schooler. And generally speaking, the high school kids are much more independent. It's like, okay, I'm going to go sign into my Zoom lesson and do my work and just click, and they do their thing and they're done.
Yeah.
Versus
ours required constant vigilance.
Yes. On one hand, because they like, oh, I need you to log me into this, or I need you to do this spelling test, or I need my workbook pages for this. I need you to print up these worksheets.
I mean, I
keep getting logged out of the thing. Dad, the computer keeps messing up.
Yeah. I mean, we had, for this distance learning experience, we had a kindergartner, a 2nd grader, and a 5th grader.
Yeah.
And Sam.
And wrangling Sam. And wrangling Sam actually turned out to be the easiest part of this.
Which is surprising, because I really thought he was going to present more of a challenge.
Yeah.
But having those 3 different grades, they're still really young. They still don't know a lot about computers. They can log into it. They can get to the apps that they need to get to because they've been using those specific websites, those specific apps at school. But now it's like, okay, well, we're going to throw in all these new different things that they haven't ever used before and that parents probably haven't ever used before. Like Charlie did stuff on Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was until they started using it.
Yeah, me either.
And it's kind of funny because it was like their whole class, like they tried doing so much stuff. I think I remember talking about it at the beginning of the school year where they were doing so much like, oh, we're going to have all these computer focused classrooms and like the whole class is just going to be all computer work. So they come into class, they log in, they get their assignments, they do their work. And the teacher seriously has fuck all to do.
Yeah.
Seriously in this class. And they're like, oh, I think they were going to use Google.
They were supposed to use Google Classrooms, but that didn't work because
all the class
kids
were underage to have a Google account.
Yeah. And so they all needed their parents' permissions to get logged in. But it was like you have to grant the permission.
Yeah, every time they log in. You need mom's email and password in order to log into class.
Yeah. And so Charlie was like calling me at work, Mom, what's your password? I'm like, I don't fucking think so.
Yeah. And he is absolutely going to remember that and use it to get onto websites or get onto something or log into something or whatever later.
So that was a challenge because, we had to deal with them not really being computer literate and now having to absolutely be computer literate.
Yeah.
And then staying on top of them to make sure they're actually working and not sneaking off onto YouTube to watch Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
Which happened on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah. And, or just arguing with each other, fighting because like we have the study with the boys' 4 desks, but they're all pretty close together. And no stretch, like if they, stretch their hands out, they could smack each other.
And they did.
And they would. And they'd throw stuff or they'd just get up and, or somebody says something or they've got the sound up too loud. And I got all of them new headphones so that they could all have headphones for listening to whatever they needed to listen to. But, it doesn't help if...
But it's still 4 boys cooped up next to each other for, months on end.
Yeah. Or, hey, Dad, I need the password for this. And they sit there. Or they don't tell me they need the password for the thing. Or, hey, Dad, the computer logged me out because I oops and closed it or whatever.
Yeah.
But, they're like, oh, and they would. So because we tried to keep them on basically like a regular kind of school schedule. So they would start their day at 8:00, which sucks for me, but.
Which was actually late for them because school started at like 7:30.
Like 7:45.
Yeah.
But so it's like, it's a little later, but for the most part, it's like, okay, school starts at 8.
Yeah.
But we basically do like a class, like 45 minutes of class and then 15-minute recess and 45 minutes of class and 15 minutes of recess. And sometimes it was like a snack break recess or other times it's, hey, go play in the yard or whatever. And like sometimes they'd be like, no, I just want to play computer games. Like, no, the point of recess is get off your ass.
Yeah.
It's get out of the chair, get away from your desk. No, you're not going to sit there playing games on the computer on your recess. You're going to get up and stretch your legs so you're not sitting here for 5 hours or whatever it turns out to be.
That is one thing I will say. I definitely saw a decline in not only their willingness to read, like actual books.
Yeah.
But probably even their comprehension skills because they're not practicing them.
Yeah.
There was no reading assigned. Really, the only like ELA stuff they had was, read this passage and then answer some questions on it, which kind of tests their comprehension, but they weren't really doing those long essays that they were doing before.
Yeah.
Book reports, things like that. And they weren't doing that required reading log where 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day, they had to read.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can already tell that with them, it's going to be tough getting them back into the habit of picking up a book and reading because they're all gung-ho for being on the computer now.
Yeah. They are much more willing to like, no, I want to be on the computer. And like, oh, I want to play this game on the computer. I want to do this thing on the computer. Or like,
read a book.
Yeah, no, sorry. Like you guys didn't have that much computer time before distance learning. You're not getting it now. The point of having all this computer access was for school purposes. not for game purposes.
Yeah.
And they got really pissed off when the last day of testing was like, all right, now all the computers are locked up. You guys do not have access to the computers anymore because you don't need them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Dad, can I go play this game? No, it's not your fucking computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and especially because, like, I keep going back to Charlie. With Charlie, he kept getting caught doing stuff that he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah. Going
onto YouTube and, trying to pull up scary stuff to scare his brothers and
watching spooky videos.
Yeah, video chatting his friends when he's not supposed to be video chatting at all.
Yeah, jumping back onto the Microsoft Teams or Zoom or whatever to message his friends and call his friends at school. Like, oh, I'm never going to be able to talk to my friends. Like, look, it's summertime. You wouldn't have seen their asses anyway.
Seriously.
Like, school is over. You'll see him again in September.
Hopefully. Oh, man. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so thankfully distance learning is over.
Yeah.
Summer has officially begun for them.
Which means come Tuesday, because it's Memorial Day weekend, so you don't have work Monday because you work for a banking company.
Woohoo.
Yay. And I don't have work on Monday because I don't work Mondays. But I was really hoping, and it kind of sucks looking at my schedule this week, I was really hoping I was going to be off Tuesday too.
I mean, what's my motto? Just call out.
Yeah, I know. Every day, just call out. But I'm sorry, I don't take mental health days from school or work. Or work.
Maybe you need one.
I don't know, maybe. But it was kind of surprising that because Monday, it's a paid holiday even for me.
Yeah.
And it's my normal day off. So normally he'll give me like the next day off or whatever. Well, middle of the week, there's a lot more work than there is on the weekend. So he ended up giving me next Saturday off, which kind of doesn't make sense because next Saturday is the start of the next pay period.
It's a different pay period.
Like, you can't see me raising my hand, but I'm raising my hand because I'm back in school apparently. But
we're just so used to distance learning.
I know, we're so in distance learning mode right now. like, okay, sucks, but it also means next weekend I've got a 3-day weekend, which, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not off Saturdays that often. And so that's nice.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
And I know
get some more gardening done.
Yeah. Yeah. Because besides distance learning, our big quarantine activity, and totally was not a product of quarantine. It just was more of, with quarantine going on, it meant you being home and us having a little more time to do it. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, we're doing this because we're bored, because you're still working, I'm still working.
Yeah.
For the most part, the only major part of our lives that changed was you don't have to commute and we have distance learning going on.
Yeah.
Which has been great for gas, not driving, because you actually have further to go to work every day. So I'm like, oh, it's so nice. When you're done with when you're done with work at the end of the day, you just walk out of the office, and
which has been really nice because it's like I have like almost an hour drive to work and back. So it's been really nice to get out at 4:30 and be home at 4:30 instead of close to 5:30.
Yeah. Which is always, and if there's traffic or there's an accident or something, and that was always kind of the problem, was you drive home, you get home, tag, and
I get home when you leave.
Yeah. And if you get home late, I'm late to work.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, you get home, you get out of work, you're done. I'm, setting up, I'm serving up dinner, and we have time for everybody to sit down and have dinner together as a family. And that's been really nice.
Yeah.
That we've gotten to have dinner as a family every night versus before it was me and the boys have dinner and you come home, and if you actually wanted what we made for dinner, you would eat.
And if I did eat, it was cold. And
yeah, a lot of the time by then it was cold, or like you come home and you'd come home and you take a shower and wind down a little bit. And by the time you sit down to eat, dinner's cold.
Yeah.
But now it's, you walk out and you can, get a drink, or you go jump in the shower or whatever, but then you can sit down with everybody and have hot dinner.
Yeah, just been nice.
And then I go to work and everybody's,
I
it's a
will
little
say
less
the
rushy.
one bad thing about me working from home is that I have my own personal chef. So,
Oh, yeah.
whereas before, if I didn't take something for lunch or I didn't feel like ordering lunch because ordering is expensive, now it's like, hey, babe, what do you want for lunch? Let me cook you something. I'm like, endless possibilities.
Yeah. Which, well, even so, like, it's not even the, what do you want? It's every day I have to ask you, what do you want for lunch? It's like, lunch is at 12. And because I know your break schedule and your lunch schedule, every day it's, okay, this is lunch. At 11 o'clock, I'm usually texting you, hey, what do you want for lunch today? So that I can have your lunch ready at 12 o'clock when you walk out.
Which has been lovely. I love it.
I was like, I just wanted to do mac and cheese today. Or, hey, can you go pick me up this thing? Or let's just do this. And it may just be hey, run over to Taco Bell. But,
yeah,
I got to run over to Taco Bell and get back in time for you to get out of lunch.
Yeah.
But, but it's nice. And I'm also making sure you're eating every day because it's like, sometimes before, if you didn't have any money or you didn't take anything, you may not eat lunch, or you were eating vending machine lunch, and vending machine lunch sucks. I don't care where you are.
Yeah. No. It was not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been cool. And then, like you said, we've been home. One of the things that we wanted to do now that we have this house and it is our own, once we got the whole backyard put in, we knew that we eventually were going to put a garden back there. It was just a matter of what are we going to put, where are we going to put it, and how is that going to work with all the grass that we have back there now?
Yeah.
Well, we're home. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
So we did. And so now we have those big half wine barrels. We've got some planters that you built. We have like a raised planter that sits on the patio or just off the patio. We've got lots of plants.
Yeah, it went from the, hey, we want to have both a flower garden and a vegetable garden. And we're like, okay, well, we don't want to like cut up the ground. So let's have some like raised planters. And you sat there and built up a massive Amazon list of 10 different types of planters. I'm like, no, they need to match. They need to all be this they need to be about the same style because my little landscape architect brain says, no, it must like have balance. It has to have a common aesthetic of it.
You wanted to feng shui our backyard.
No, I just wanted things to match. Like, I didn't want to have a wooden box bed next to a hanger with a bunch of metal buckets next to a big
it's called rustic and it's cute.
Right next to a big metal tub. Like, no. It can all be metal tubs or it can all be wooden boxes, but it needs to be balanced. It needs to like all kind of be equal. And there's the neighbor. I don't know if you can hear the neighbor's car alarm going off, but the neighbor's car alarm's going off. No.
Glad it was theirs and not ours, but still.
It'd be really weird if our car alarm's going off because it's in the garage. But yeah, so you bought one planter box. And you made a huge list of all the fruits and vegetables and everything you wanted to grow and herbs and flowers. And so far, we have not done anything with flowers because I'm generally convinced that none of the flowers you want to grow will actually grow here.
I mean, you're probably not wrong, but I feel like that's just more reason to advocate for you buying me a summer home in Washington.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No. So
I'm glad we agreed on that.
No. I couldn't even answer in the affirmative to the ending of the statement because you would have taken that as me agreeing. So is it obvious?
You said that you're agreeing. I love it. Thank you.
No, I said that would. I didn't say I'm agreeing. I said me agreeing, which does not.
That's okay. I mean, if you want to talk like that, that's your prerogative. You've been watching a lot of Sesame Street with the boys. I get it.
I'm going to throw something at you. And so everything in reach is yours.
Please don't throw my stuff.
And hit you with your own glasses case. But yeah, so it started with, hey, we have this planter box. And so I had to go to the store and buy soil for it. And well, we needed stuff. And we ended up pulling up a list. I forget exactly where it came from.
The library.
But where, like, who furnished, was it like the Farm Bureau or something? But it had like the list
University of Arizona.
Yeah, where it was like the different seasons and when to plant different plants in Arizona.
Yeah.
And what fruits and vegetables you can plant at whatever time. So, okay, pulled up and basically had a list of here's what we can plant right now. And the problem right now is that we aren't the only people trying to garden anything. We're not the people building quarantine gardens. And so
I guess it's a thing. And we were kind of late to the party with that. But
we didn't do the bread thing because everybody's quarantine baking. We did the bread thing because we bake because
we have a bread machine and I like bread.
Yeah, no, because we make bread. And we had, like everywhere else, massive yeast shortage. And once we finally acquired yeast again, they're like, we're kind of breaded out. And I think everybody got breaded out.
Maybe.
But I forget what the current quarantine the trend is, what everybody's doing. I think it's moved on to chickens. I remember you saying something about
chickens. Yeah.
I was like,
because everybody's got their gardens now. And so I think now it's chickens.
Yeah. But we started the garden just because it was like, hey, we finally got time to build the garden that we have been planning to build since we moved in. We literally planned on having the whole time. And so we get this, like, you basically keep sending me out, like, okay, go here to get, like, try and find these plants. And you insisted on having live plants to start with.
They're easier.
It's easier to start with already established plants than trying to grow tomatoes from seed. I was like, okay, fine. And go to Home Depot, nothing. Go to Lowe's, nothing. Even though both of them claimed that they had lots of stuff. I'm like, oh, fuck you guys. And I ended up at Walmart, of all places. And the garden center at Walmart actually had a ton of live plants. And so I ended up getting a bunch of tomatoes and some strawberries and some herbs and stuff and a bunch of other seeds and stuff for us to start and put them all in this planter. And we got some, and you'd mentioned we got some half wine barrels, again, because I'm wanting everything to be balanced in the yard. So I'm like, okay, well, we want to have these kind of things. Well, those would work really well as planters. So we can put a couple of these in the corner. And by this point, you've already ordered a dwarf avocado tree.
I love it.
And it was like one of those early on, you have to like pre-order these before they're even ready for them. Like they're not even old enough for them to ship out. And you have to pre-order these trees for the season. And we're like, okay, well, if we're going to put it in a planter, it needs to be big. And and so it's like, hey, we could get one of those wine barrels. And we're like, well, if we're going to do that, then all of the planters like that need to be barrels, just so it's balanced and they're the same. I don't want to have a terracotta pot in one corner and like a square plastic pot in another corner. I want them all to match.
Yeah.
And okay, I get a bunch of these fucking wine barrels, which weigh a ton, by the way. If you've ever had to, I don't imagine you have to, but if you ever
in the market for,
if you're ever in the market for a wine barrel or a half wine barrel to use for whatever the hell you're going to use it for, a planter like we did or whatever, two things to keep in mind. Well, a few things. One, they're fucking expensive. They're expensive. The half barrels we had were $45 a piece. They're heavy as hell. And it's the most important part, you buy the real ones.
Yeah.
Because when you go to the stores, you go to Home Depot and Lowe's and all that, there are imitation wine barrels. They look like, basically, if it's pretty, it's fake.
Yeah.
If it's a pretty wine barrel, like, oh, look, it's all notched and look, it's all pretty. It's really nice. And they charge the same fucking amount. That pisses me off. That really kind of pisses me off because it costs the same to get the pretty fake barrel as it does to get the ugly real one.
Yeah.
But the real one's going to last you a lot longer because it's like 1/2 inch thick oak.
Yeah. Well, and it's already pre-treated and
yeah, it's already been,
burned and all that.
Yeah, it's all the things. And it's designed so that the actual pressure of you putting shit in it will hold it together.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones where they're more like the flooring, the wood flooring slats where it's like notched and grooved and they just slide them together and then they throw the bands on there decoratively. And
yeah,
they're super, super thin slats. And like I saw one review guy basically said after 1.5 years, it just rotted through and fell apart. And he had to like transplant his trees over to new areas because he was like, yeah, I put a tree in this thing thinking it was going to last. I think it might have been an avocado in it. Think about it. And like after 1 year, he had to transplant it to another location because the cheap fake barrel fell apart.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I got, I planned out the plants that we wanted to get or that I wanted to get for, very specific purposes. Like we're not growing anything that we're not eventually going to eat ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not like, we're going to grow a bunch of kumquats and none of us are ever going to touch.
Grow kale, grow chard. What? No, I'm not going to eat chard.
Never going to eat it. Never even going to touch it.
Yeah.
So no, all the stuff that we're growing is actually stuff that we are going to eventually eat.
Yeah.
Or at least I will. I don't care if y'all don't eat my avocados. I'll eat them all.
Yeah.
But I also made sure that everything that we do plan to get will fit in the containers that we have because we have to do container growing because we're not going to tear up part of the yard.
Yeah.
We're not sacrificing any part of our pretty yard for
I'm not
our
cutting
pretty
up
garden.
the grass in order to put a garden.
So like our strawberry plants and our sage, they all fit in the wine barrel. The tomato plants are doing great in the wine barrel.
Yeah.
The avocado tree that we bought is a dwarf variety, which is
designed that like is totally fine being a container plant. So it's sitting in a wine barrel.
It's sitting in a wine barrel. So, we had all these things like planned out and we knew the direction that our garden was going to go.
But then there were some things that you were like, I want to have this, like, because you're a watermelon fiend.
I wanted
to have watermelon. And when I was at Walmart and saw all the plants and when I picked up the strawberries and the tomatoes that we have and the herbs and all that, and I mentioned that there was a pumpkin there and you were like, get the pumpkin. I'm like, why the fuck am I going to get pumpkin?
Because they're pumpkins.
Because at this point, all of our garden beds were wine barrels and we had the one, it's like about 3 foot by 2 foot.
Yeah, it's not very big. And it's only like maybe a foot deep.
Yeah, it's like maybe 18, 19 inches deep.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not getting pumpkins. Like pumpkins are massive vining, and they were jack-o'-lantern pumpkins at that. So like this is going to be a massive vining bed takeover of everything. I can't get a pumpkin. And
so you got the pumpkin.
Until I got the pumpkin because of course I got the pumpkin. And that fucking pumpkin, it held on really well. And it actually, I feel bad. But when we got the pumpkin, it was like, all right, well, I've got the pumpkin. I'm going to have to build a long vine bed for this thing because I have no way, like this is not going to grow in a wine barrel.
No.
That has tomatoes and other stuff already growing in it. Like this needs its own, it needs a long bed where the vines can stretch out and all that stuff. So, but I didn't have time. I have to go back to the store. I have to get wood. I have to get a lot more materials and everything and build this thing. And so in the meantime, well, I'm just going to leave this pumpkin plant sitting here with the other plants so that, it's just over here out of the way. And it started dying. I'm like, crap. Okay, I can't leave it in this little pot that it came in. I'm going to have to stick it in the container, at least so it's getting enough water and has enough soil to kind of stretch out. So I plant it in with the tomatoes and all that, and it just takes off. And we're looking up, and it actually, like, because it had almost died in that little pot until I put it and actually transplanted it into the barrel. And, it took off, and we're like, hey man, this thing really, it went from, oh man, it's all shriveled up and dying to, hey, it's
alive.
It's alive, and it's back, and the vine's growing, and hey, look, there's new leaves, and holy crap, there's another new leaf, and there's another new leaf, and it was really taking off. Like, man, this thing's growing fast. And I finally get the vine bed made and filled, and I go to move the pumpkin over to its new home. And in the process of moving it over, the main stem vine snaps off. After, about a week or so of like, man, this thing is doing great. Man, we're going to have pumpkins. And like it was really doing really well. We need to get it into its new home because it'll be great over there. And
then you killed it.
And then it killed it. So I ended up actually planting, because I had pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, sugar pumpkins.
Meh. But I ended up planting some little, like the sugar, the pie pumpkin. So we actually have 3 of those planted at the other end of that bed.
Yeah.
So, because I tried to graft it back together. I tried to, like, hoping that it would be able to heal and come back, but I guess it just didn't do a good enough job, or didn't, whatever. So it died.
It was still a baby, and breaking baby plants doesn't usually work out in their favor.
Work out in their wing. I'm sure if it was a more mature plant, it probably could have handled the damage, but...
Yeah. So now we have what may possibly be a bell pepper or spinach. We don't know. One of the two. We've got carrots that are struggling. Got basil that's doing really good. Sage is doing really good. Strawberries are freaking trying to take over the whole world.
Freaking strawberries think they're Audrey 2 or something.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with them. We're going to have a talk with them because they're just going everywhere. We've got the avocado tree, the lemon tree. We've got pumpkins, got cucumbers. We've got tomatoes. And then inside, we have some starters going of cantaloupe, watermelon, more cucumber because the one outside is dying, green beans, and green onions.
Yeah, because our first crop of green onions that we planted outside got eaten, or it's like fairly certain they got eaten by bugs or birds, whatever.
Both.
Something got to our green onions, which were doing so good too.
They were.
We're so happy. The green onions were really coming in, and then we look out there one day and they were all gone. I'm like, that was so heartbreaking because I was so excited. Like, not that I wanted them, but fuck, they were growing.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even like I'm more excited for the plants growing than I am to eat them. It's just like, hey, success. We're having success in the garden. I don't even care if I eat any of this shit. I just want it to grow. I just want to say, hey, I grew a strawberry. Hey, I don't eat fucking tomatoes, but damn it, I want I want to have a ton of tomatoes. I want the avocado tree to go nuts, in part because of what I've seen from this variety of avocado.
Yeah, so I was apparently one of the stupid ones who fell for the name, thinking that, dwarf avocado tree was going to give me little avocados.
Yeah, no, it's the complete fucking opposite. Apparently, the dwarf avocado tree gives you huge ass avocados.
Oops.
I remember,
you can make an entire bowl of guacamole out of one avocado.
Yeah, you ever see that Chipotle commercial where they're making guac?
It's the big
yeah, they probably use like 3 of these avocados for that whole bowl. Seriously. I saw a video on YouTube, and I've seen a few of them with the people that have the Wirtz avocados, the dwarf avocados. And this one guy, he plucks one off his tree, sits it down on the ground next to a store-bought Hass avocado, which is pretty much the kind you get everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like a softball to a golf ball. Seriously.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
He pulled a 6-inch by 3-inch, and I know because he measured the thing, a 6-inch by 3-inch avocado off of that tree.
I'm so excited.
It's like the size of a mango. And has this little like shrimpy little Hass avocado next to it that you probably paid anywhere from 50 cents to $1 for, depending on where you live in the country. Yeah. Here we can get, the big avocados for $2 or $3 for $1. But I know of friends
during the right season.
But I know of people who live on the East Coast who are like, man, avocados are like $3 each. I'm like, oh, I know. I'm like, oh, God. And I remember it's kind of like when we moved out here.
Buy your own tree.
Buy your own tree. But I remember it was like when we moved out here and when we got that sticker shock of the price of milk and the price of beef out here compared to what it was like in Texas.
Yeah. I miss Texas milk prices.
No, milk sucks out there. Beef is better.
No. Not the milk price, the gas prices.
Yeah, Texas gas prices are much better. Out in Texas, it costs more for milk than it does for gas.
Yeah.
And I don't know which is better, but I know we go through a lot of milk.
I mean, we kind of go through a lot of both.
Yeah. But that's because we have we don't live anywhere near where we work.
True.
But, yeah,
so our little garden.
It's coming along.
Doing pretty good. I'm excited for it.
Our seedlings that we're now currently blooming in the office, which I didn't realize green beans grow overnight.
Yeah, that has been freaking sane to watch them. Because it's literally like you can see differences in a few hours.
Yeah.
I have a picture of them that I took. I took one at 3:45 and then I took another one at 8:50 on the same day. Almost 4 in the afternoon, almost 9 at night. And there is
it's probably an inch difference in the plants.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. And you can see leaves and stuff coming up. And I'm just like, holy crap, what are y'all doing?
And I took another picture the next night around 9 or 10 o'clock. So it's under 24, 25 hours difference from the day before. And you can't even tell they're the same plants.
No, they're insane. And today we tried to harden them off by taking them outside, letting them kind of sit in the shade on the patio and just kind of let them get used to being outside.
Yeah, more intense heat than they're currently used to.
And now they look like freaking full-grown plants.
Yeah, they popped up probably 1 inch to 2 inches.
Yeah.
Just sitting outside today.
Yeah. In
one day. I'm like, what the fuck? And when you showed me, you found a video of a time lapse of the life of green beans.
Yeah.
It was 14 days.
And it was a shrub.
Yeah. It went from just seeds on the ground to shrub in 14 days. And looking at day 7 and day 8 were such massive growth. And we're about to that point right now.
Yeah.
Where I'm fairly certain if we went and stuck those out in the garden tomorrow, which we're probably doing, that by the end of the week, we're going to have shrubs.
Probably. I'm so nervous to put any of these sprouts outside. These are my babies. We gotta take care of my babies.
Yeah, but these green beans are taking over everything and they're going to kill the watermelon.
I know.
We got 4 green beans that combine that any one of them is taller than all of the other sprouts combined.
Poor babies.
But yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to transplant green beans.
Maybe. I don't know.
And I have
separation anxiety.
But because the green beans are going so crazy, I'm going to now have to build a third bed because I built, when we got this little seed starter that we've got in the office right now, I went ahead because you wanted to grow watermelon. Like I said,
love watermelon.
We've got the pumpkin bed. And so you wanted to have watermelon and cantaloupe. Okay, which makes a lot of sense because we always have them around. Fine. Well, if we're okay, we're going to have a bed for watermelon and cantaloupe. Well, we've got the green beans. We've got carrots. We've got peppers, cucumber. We've got all this other stuff we're going to need to move. Well, the green beans are already going crazy. So we're I'm going to need to have a whole nother bed just for the green beans and maybe maybe something else we can put in there with them.
Yeah.
But now I need the green beans in the bed that I built for the watermelon because those need to go in the ground now.
Yeah.
The watermelon and the cantaloupe aren't going to be ready for a couple of weeks. But nope, green beans need to go in the ground now. So I'm going to have to put those in the planter now and then build another bed just for the melons.
Maybe. I mean, the spinach that we had died off. So we do have that open space on the one up on the patio. So maybe we could think of putting either the green beans up on the patio or maybe the green onions up on the patio and put the green beans out with the tomatoes. I have to see, like, companion plant wise, what can go where.
Yeah. And it's big. I just worry about putting the green beans out with anything because they're growing so fast. I don't want them to take up all the sunlight from everything else.
True. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. But that's been garden talk. But yeah, that's probably been the biggest thing going on with us right now has been the garden thing. Because every day it's another thing. It's another assessment of what's going on. And, you know, I've tried planting potatoes. My first crop of potatoes did not take.
This one looks like they might.
Yeah.
They're just slow.
Yeah. I've found out potatoes grow very slow. This is also not the time of year to plant potatoes.
Yeah, you're also not supposed to plant potatoes right now.
Yes, but not supposed to plant potatoes in the summer in Arizona. You're also not supposed to plant carrots in the summer in Arizona. Apparently, this is when you harvest carrots out here, which I found out when I passed a carrot farm on the highway the other day, and they were harvesting. Like, oh, I am completely the wrong time of year to be putting this in the ground.
We're in the wrong season.
The wrong season for this, but hey, I'll try. And if they don't take, I'll try again at the right time of year.
Yeah, we'll see.
And maybe the green onions will take better in the fall as well if they don't take this time. It's all like, I know the pumpkins are due. This is when you would plant pumpkins.
Yeah.
I know it appears to be a really good time to plant all the melons and everything so that they come up and we're harvesting in the fall. So I think it'd be a good time for all of those. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah.
And the boys are really into it. They like seeing everything growing and all that. So.
And they've enjoyed getting to go out in the yard and help me with building planter boxes and stuff. And so that's been fun.
Yeah.
Even though they go out and we spend an hour working in the yard building a box and they get scorched.
Yeah, no, I have to tell them to come in because they're starting to turn red.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel bad for them because in the past 3 months, since March, the most that they've gotten to go like outside is in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like we haven't all gone anywhere except for the 2 times that we went up to the school. The first one to get their school supplies.
And then for Bug's little drive-through graduation.
Buggy's parade because he graduated kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay, Buggy! But he's not the only one that graduated. I mean, okay, he's kindergarten graduation, but but you graduated, and I've talked about you going back to school, and God, that was one of those things early on in the show. That was you going back to school was what killed Mom and Dad Cuss.
Yeah.
Was because with your school workload, because you were on full-time online class.
Yep.
For 2.5 years, 3 years?
3 years. I started in January of 2017.
Yeah.
But it ended in May of 2020.
Yay!
Yay!
And so
it's over. Well,
this part of it's over.
That part's over.
This part's over. You officially are a college graduate with a degree.
Yay.
Officially.
Graduated summa cum laude, no less.
Aha. But it's funny that you graduated with a teaching degree. You have zero interest in teaching.
Well, I graduated with a degree in education. Yeah. It doesn't give me a teaching certificate or anything like that, which is fine because, like you said, I have zero desire to teach. I can barely handle my own kids. I don't want to have to deal with anybody else's. Yeah. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah. The end goal being the master's in library science because you're a weirdo and you want to be a librarian.
Yes. And actually, I've been thinking of something that's going to potentially drive me completely into the ground and doing a dual master's program in history and library science.
The history of libraries.
No.
We begin with Alexandria.
Oh, too soon.
Really?
Yeah.
How is that too soon?
It's just still very painful to talk about.
I wish you could hear the look I'm giving her right now.
Don't judge me. I feel very judged.
Good. You're being judged.
Rude. No, so when I first started college, right outside of high school, like, like you're supposed to or whatever, my major was history. I've always loved history. It was my favorite subject in high school. It was, I knew that I was going to go into some sort of history field. When I looked into universities, I was actually going to work in a museum. I wanted to do like museum curator, that type of thing. So I knew that for that type of career field, I needed a degree in history. So that's what I went for. And then I started doing theater and completely fell in love with that. So I double majored in history and theater. Well, one thing led to another. I got married. I had a kid and couldn't really keep up with doing school. And then you got hurt and really couldn't keep up with doing school.
Yeah. I mean, you were still going, like, not going to say that getting married and having a kid stopped you from going to school, because even after Charlie was born, you were still going to school.
I was still trying. It was really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And there were days where I wouldn't go because it was on campus. It wasn't
you were
online.
Traditional going to school on campus. And there were like, I always look back on those days of, me and Charlie going, dropping you off at school in the morning and, hang out for a bit. And because of course we lived clear on the other side of town from school.
Yeah.
And so you have like maybe one class or two classes and you're there for maybe 2 hours, and we drive home, we hang out, or maybe not even drive home. We spent a lot of days where we'd like go, because at that point we're like, oh, we need a different car. And we go look at vans and look at car lots, or go to
pawn shops
or whatever, just to bullshit around for a few hours.
Yeah.
Until it was time to go pick you up in the afternoon.
But it was hard. It was not easy, especially going back on campus. Yeah. It just wasn't easy. And anybody that's a new mom, I think, could empathize with that. And, it was too much.
Yeah. And then after I got hurt, then
you got hurt, and I was like, okay, well, that's it. I can't. Like, I've got to stay here and take care of you. I had to take care of Charlie. There just was no way.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. And then we got to a point where everything out here, we had a really good routine. Yeah. We were well established in, these are the only kids that we are ever going to have. Yeah. I am done. We knew their routines, their needs, whatever.
Yeah, life was much more stable.
Life was pretty stable. And I found myself, after they went to bed at night, I would have these big gaps of time where it was, okay, I could go to bed at 7:30, or I could stay up and watch TV, or I could be doing something with my life. So I decided to do something with my life and go back to school. But I knew that it couldn't be anything on campus because that just didn't work out. So ASU, Arizona State, has really, really, really amazing online programs. All of their degree programs can be taken online. So I looked into that and I was like, okay, well, can't do theater online, which sucks. Although now, thanks to Corona.
Yeah, now, thanks to Corona, now there are online theater programs.
Now there's online theater programs. I was like, I didn't want to do their history program because it required an internship.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And I'm still a mom. I'm still working full time. I don't have time for an internship. I just don't. So I'm like, okay, what's the easiest one? What's going to get me out of here?
Yeah.
The quickest, get me my degree as fast as possible. And it actually was going to be an education degree. I was like, well, I don't necessarily want this, but I'll do it, and I'll at least have a bachelor's degree, and then I can continue on to get my master's degree in library science, which is applicable to museums and libraries.
Yeah.
So did that, and I actually really, really enjoyed it. And I found a lot of relevancy to my future career in a library or in a museum in my education degree. And the professors were amazing and really worked with me on building that potential. Like, their curriculum was centered around a classroom, but I was like, okay, I'm going to break your curriculum and I'm going to take this to a library. And all of them ate it up. They were like, oh my gosh, it's so great. And way to think outside the box and apply this to your future career. And it was cake.
Yeah.
Like, they all just ate it up.
Because they're so used to seeing the same old. It was like everyone's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, here's how you interact with the kids, and here's how you do this, and here's how you make a lesson plan, this and this. You're like, well, I'm not going to be a teacher, so this doesn't apply to me. And a lot of how would you do this in this circumstance? And you're giving them a completely different circumstance because it doesn't apply to your actual field of study.
Yeah. Which I am very grateful that they let me take their curriculum and break it like that and apply it to what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't forced into a teacher box.
Yeah. They didn't make you do everything the teacher way and you said openly, like, I'm not going to be a teacher. I have no desire to be a teacher. I'm not doing this to be a teacher. I'm doing this to be a librarian.
Yeah.
And so, they were very lenient in letting you take everything from that perspective rather than from this is an education program. Do it the damn way. Do it where we said it.
Yeah. No. So it was cool. And, I would have been finished in December of last year, but
house.
We bought a house. We had 2 pets die.
Yeah.
Charlie was having some struggles at school. And I mean, the fall was
rough.
Chaos.
But at the same time, we also got our house. And I think the biggest thing was that we got the house.
Yeah.
Because that really, that sidelined everything.
It really did.
That pulled you out of school at the time. I had started getting all of my work done on my teeth back in October, and then beginning of November, everything starts with the house. And, my dental journey, which I should have been in new teeth back in December, I just barely got my new teeth 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
But we have a house.
And so I can't complain. I really can't.
Yeah.
We can complain all day about, oh man, distance learning sucks and blah, 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 the kids are home and blah. But at the end of the day, of all the things that have happened through Corona and through all of the setbacks and everything, we've had it pretty easy.
Yeah. And like I said before, there was one point earlier this year, I think in like January, right after we moved in, where I was like, man, you know what sucks? We just got this house. I don't have, any time off scheduled until like March. I just want to be home and enjoy my house.
Yeah.
And the universe was like, okay, wish granted.
Yeah. But again, when you wish for something, I don't know of any wish under any circumstances where the wish doesn't kick you in the balls.
Yeah. I wasn't specific.
Like, oh, I just wish I could be home and enjoy my house. Boom, Corona.
My bad. Not saying I caused it, but. So yeah, now we get to be home and I get to enjoy the house.
Yeah.
Which has been pretty cool.
And our current estimates for you working from home run through the end of the year.
Hopefully.
Which is why we had to buy a big ass desk.
And full circle.
First of all, bringing it back to the desk. No, first, it's a U-shaped desk.
This is true. It's a U-shaped desk. Never mind. But yeah, so Buggy graduated. I graduated. We have a garden.
Built gardens. Built a desk.
We've been busy.
Yeah. Seriously.
Not like we've just been sitting here in self-isolation watching Avatar, which we have been.
We have been watching Avatar, and that's a whole other thing. But
we've been doing stuff.
And it's like, it has been killing me for the last 3 months being sidelined from the show because all this shit that we've been doing.
Yeah.
So much to like, I could have been having weekly garden updates by this point. Shit.
Need to have like a gardening corner.
This is the garden corner.
What's that show on that radio station? I know I'm being super specific here.
Rosie on the House has a gardening segment on Sundays.
There you go.
If Rosie on the House. Suddenly I have a lot more reason to be listening to Rosie on the House. It's the gardening hour. Except you got to catch them at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning to catch the gardening hour. No,
I mean, that's about when we go out to garden. So
yeah, I know. That means I'd have to be listening to the radio at 8 in the morning for the garden hour. But I've learned a lot listening to that show. But yeah, we've done so much, and like I said on my little update from the car a little while back, that there's all this stuff we've been doing, so much to talk about, and we've kind of cliff notes the shit out of it.
Oh yeah,
but I've still got more to talk about, and hopefully with the new office set up, I will get a new recording schedule kind of going, and things should get back to normal-ish. New normal is probably going to be a new release schedule. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll figure it all out. We're still learning. We're still trying to figure, balance, because now it's not just office space sharing time. It's also, boys are on summer break and office space sharing time, and me working and you working and all of all of that. So finding balance and establishing our quote unquote gag me new normal. But I
mean, if you're into that kind of thing,
don't gag me. I already have false teeth and a weak gag reflex. It's like I can just cough and accidentally get nauseous. Anyway,
that word.
Yeah, I can't say nauseous as well anymore with my new teeth. But I'm not whistling as much as I was. I'm not whistling near as much as I was last week. My swelling is all gone down. They've been refitted. It's so wonderful. But
you pull that off a little too well, dear.
I'm sorry, but sometimes I just slip into a voice. And I'm sorry when we're talking about the fact that my teeth were whistling and I was lisping a lot more. Just default into that one. But because we've been going for so long, which always happens. Okay, when I have a guest, I talk for even longer than I normally do, which is holy crap. But when you're here, it actually goes a lot more than that. Any last words? Because we always have to force ourselves to stop.
Oh, I don't know.
Which is about as well as it went on every episode of Mom and Dad Cuss when I would ask you for any final words.
Really? I don't remember. It's been so long.
No, it's been 3 years. But I would always end the last bit of the show. It was like, any last words? And you would always draw a blank or just say some random bullshit. And
I got nothing.
Yep. Which is about as well as can be expected anytime you're on the show.
You want a peanut butter M&M?
No, but I greatly appreciate you not opening those until right now. So you weren't sitting here chewing fucking peanut butter M&Ms on mic for me to have to cut out, which you're going to do right now. And I'm going to want to smack you with a microphone.
You want one?
I can't eat them. You do this bullshit to me. You know I can't eat those with my teeth. Which is a really word for you. I can't eat those with my teeth. How the fuck else are you going to eat them?
I feel bad for you.
No, you don't.
No.
Because peanut butter M&Ms are my favorite. And you're sitting here with a giant fucking bag of peanut butter M&Ms that I can't eat because you're evil.
Aw, poor thing.
So rude. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap things up from there because you don't know what else to say. You're just going to sit there taunting me with your M&Ms. Remember, you can catch me here and in all the podcast places, of course, at oddadoutpodcast.com. Subscribe to the show on the Apples and the Googles and the Spotifys and all the places. Hit me up on the social media places at oddadout on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I have a LinkedIn profile, but who cares? And until next week, oddballs. Thank you and good night.